A man went to the doctor with a horrible itch in his ass. After an examination, the doctor gave him his diagnosis. You have an enormous tapeworm in there. This is not a matter of normal treatment, so my advice to you is to insert a boiled egg in your anus followed by a gummy bear. Call me tomorrow. The man did as the doctor said. However, the itch did not go away, and when he woke up that morning, it was even worse than before. So he called the doctor. "The treatment you gave me did not work. My itch is even worse now." "Don't worry, it will. Repeat the same procedure today and call me tomorrow." The man did once again shove a boiled egg and a gummy bear up his ass. But when he woke up the next morning, his itch was worse than ever. He called the doctor once again. "What kind of doctor are you? Every time I've done as you told me, my itch has only gotten worse." "Don't worry. Boil another egg, but bring it to my office and take a hammer along with you." The man, who could barely walk because of his pain, did as the doctor said. When he came to the doctor's office, the doctor told him to lie down and spread his legs. The doctor then proceeded to shove the boiled egg up the man's ass. He waited a while before the tapeworm came out saying, "Hey, why didn't I get a gummy bear this time?" and BAM. The doctor slammed the tapeworm with the hammer and killed it. A chemistry professor posted a bonus question to an exam. Is hell exothermic, gives off heat, or endothermic, absorbs heat? Most of the students wrote proofs of their beliefs using Boyle's law, gas cools when it expands and heats when it is compressed, or some variant. One student, however, wrote the following. First, we need to know how the mass of hell is changing in time. So we need to know the rate at which souls are moving into hell, and the rate at which they are leaving. I think that we can safely assume that once a soul gets to hell, it will not leave. Therefore, no souls are leaving. As for how many souls are entering hell, let's look at the different religions that exist in the world today. Most of these religions state that if you are not a member of their religion, you will go to hell. Since there is more than one of these religions, and since people do not belong to more than one religion, we can project that all souls go to hell. With birth and death rates as they are, we can expect the number of souls in hell to increase exponentially. Now, we look at the rate of change of the volume in hell because Boyle's law states that in order for the temperature and pressure in hell to stay the same, the volume of hell has to expand proportionately as souls are added. This gives two possibilities. 1. If hell is expanding at a slower rate than the rate at which souls enter hell, then the temperature and pressure in hell will increase until all hell breaks loose. 2. If hell is expanding at a rate faster than the increase of souls in hell, then the temperature and pressure will drop until hell freezes over. So which is it? If we accept the postulate given to me by Teresa during my freshman year that it will be a cold day in hell before I go out with you, and take into account the fact that I went out with her last night, then number 2 must be true, and thus I am sure that hell is exothermic and has already frozen over. The corollary of this theory is that since hell has frozen over, it follows that it is not accepting any more souls and is therefore extinct, leaving only heaven, thereby proving the existence of a divine being, which explains why last night Teresa kept shouting, "Oh my God, this student received the only A." One dark night in Dublin, a fire started inside the local chemical plant. In a blink of an eye, it exploded into massive flames. The alarm went out to all the fire departments for miles around. When the firefighters appeared on the scene, the chemical company president rushed to the firemen in charge and said, "All our secret formulas are in the vault in the center of the plant. They must be saved. I will give £50,000 to the fire department that brings them out intact." But the roaring flames held the firefighters off. Soon more fire departments had to be called in as the situation became desperate. As the firemen arrived, the president shouted out that the offer was now £100,000 to the fire station who could bring out the company's secret files. But still the firefighters could not get through. From the distance, a lone siren was heard as another fire truck came into sight. It was the nearby rural township volunteer fire brigade, composed mainly of old men over 65. To everyone's amazement, that little rundown fire engine roared right past all the newer, sleek engines that were parked outside the plant. Without even slowing down, it drove straight into the middle of the inferno. Outside, the other firemen watched as the old-timers jumped off right in the middle of the fire and fought it back on all sides. It was a performance and effort never seen before. Within a short time, the old-timers had extinguished the fire and had saved the secret formulas. The grateful chemical company president announced that for such a superhuman feat, he was upping the reward to £200,000 and walked over to personally thank each of the brave firefighters. The local TV station caught the thank you on film and asked the chief, "What are you going to do with all that money?" "Well," said Patty, the 70-year-old fire chief, "the first thing we're going to do is fix the brakes on that bloody fire truck." During a wild storm, there was a power outage, and the house on the hill was pitch black. A paramedic arrived just in time to help deliver the baby. He handed a flashlight to 3-year-old Kathleen and asked her to shine it over her mommy so he could see what he was doing. Brave little Kathleen held it steady like a champ. Moments later, baby Connor entered the world. The paramedic lifted him up, gave him a little spank to get him crying. You know, the usual baby procedure. Then he turned to Kathleen and asked, "So what did you think of all that?" Without missing a beat, that wide-eyed little girl said, "Well, he shouldn't have crawled in there in the first place. Spank him again." Joe and Pete were tearing down the highway when they saw a road sign. "Caution, elderly crossing." Pete shouted, "That's for you, Joe." Joe yelled back, "Nah, that's you." "I cross the road on a Harley, you cross it with a cane." They laughed all the way down the road until they suddenly pulled over. Not for gas, not for a flat tire, not even for coffee. Pete sighed, clutching his stomach. "Bathroom. Emergency," Joe nodded. "Same. Turns out the only real hazard for old bikers is a bladder on a schedule." Two men are in a rowboat, after being shipwrecked in the middle of the Pacific. The first man looks over to the second and says, "We should paddle to the west." It is the way the ship was going. "They'll probably look for us first over there." The second man nods and says, "We could do that, or..." The first man interrupts the second. "Or we could paddle to the east. We haven't been traveling too long. It is probably a shorter distance." The second man nods and says, "We can do that, or..." The first man interrupts again. "Or we can paddle south. Most of the islands around here are to the south." The second man nods and says, "We can do that, or..." The first man interrupts again, getting quite upset. "Or what? Where do you think we should paddle to?" The second man says, "Heck if I know, but if we're gonna paddle anywhere, I need the goddamn oar."